Welcome to my new and improved classroom. Let's start. We're on our geometry unit now. And so this is lesson, anyone remember what lesson number we're on? I think it's chapter 7, 7-1. All right, so today it could be a lot of review. And we're doing perimeter and area. Okay, perimeter and area. So we're talking rectangles, squares, triangles, trapezoids. We're gonna save circles for later, but we're just gonna start with basic shapes. So hopefully you know perimeter in basic terms is the length, or I guess distance, around a shape. Okay, so think about okay, so if I were to do a fence around my yard, that's perimeter. If I want to build a fence around my yard, okay, I want to know how much fencing am I going to need. That's perimeter. Think about those of you that watch things with the army or cop shows or anything. They're like, oh, we've got the perimeter surrounded. So perimeter is where they're surrounding around the building. Okay, so for example, if this rectangle, let's just say it's 6 by 3, okay, 6 by 3, and I ask you to find the perimeter. A huge common mistake, and it's very easy. And I'm sorry if I'm not looking at the camera, I'm watching myself too on this thing. Is, okay, well, I get a lot of kids that say, all right, 6 plus 3, that's 9. Okay, perimeter's 9. Yeah, that would be half the perimeter. So make sure you add in the other 2 sides. So you have 6 plus 3, and technically 6 plus 3, 6 plus 3, which is 18. Let's just say it's inches, so that would be just 18 inches. Perimeter has no special labeling, it's just inches. Okay, perimeter is the same thing. You just add up all the sides. I don't need to know if you need to write that down. You could say add all sides. Hopefully you can see this. I'm doing this late at night. But it says add all the sides. Okay, so whether that's a triangle, trapezoid, rectangle, square, parallelogram, any other shapes, pentagon, hexagon, whatever, you add all the sides up to find the perimeter. Okay, make sure you do all 4 sides. It's very easy to forget that. Again, let's say can you see this square on the bottom here, this tile? Okay, let me kind of go like this. See this tile here? So if I want to find the perimeter, let's say I want to surround this with blocks, okay? How many blocks is it going to take for me to, these are my son's blocks, to surround this square or this rectangle, this tile? That would be perimeter. So right now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 7 here, 6 here. Since it's the same on each side, this would be 7, this would be 6. 7 plus 6 plus 7 plus 6 is 26. I had to think for a second. Okay, so any questions about perimeter, let me know. Let's move on to area, okay? So areas where you're going to have to probably write some formulas down. You guys will be given formula sheets. There are some formulas you're going to be expected to know. Let me grab a tissue so I can wipe this off. So when they give you a formula sheet, unfortunately, they're probably not going to have like the area of basic shapes, like the area of a rectangle, area of a triangle. Those you're going to have to memorize. If they give you a formula sheet, or if they give you, I should say, if they give you a formula on a test or something, it's going to be for something complicated, like the volume of a cone or something. So let's talk about area, okay? So area is when you're trying to find out the number of units that fill a figure. Okay, so now we're filling something up, and remember we're doing a 2D shape, so you're trying to figure out like how many blocks would it take to cover this surface, this rectangle. Okay, so instead of me laying out blocks, there'd be an easier way to do this, and hopefully you already know, but we're gonna start with a square and a rectangle and a parallelogram. So, because they're all the exact same formula. So with a square, a rectangle, I'm trying to see if you can see, I hope you can, and a parallelogram. Okay. Formula for that, area equals, there will be two types you'll kind of hear, and they're the exact same thing. You might hear more commonly length times width. Okay. When I write this, let's put a dot because you guys are used to the dot by now. Okay. When I write this, though, I'm going to put a cursive L, so area equals length times width, so you don't think the L is a 1. Also, you might hear it written as area equals base times height, okay? Let me write that out. That's the exact same thing. Exact same thing. Length and width and base and height are the exact same thing. So, okay, and I'm sorry if my handwriting's worse than normal. It's hard to write on this board. You like my happy first birthday sign? So, square, rectangle. Let's just start with a square, okay? They will have to tell you if it is a square or rectangle. You know all the sides are the same. So normally with a square, when they say, hey, find the area of it, let's just say one side's 4. Sometimes they don't give you the other side. Why? Because, and actually I'm gonna choose a different number than 4, just to make this a little interesting. We'll choose 7. You know, they're trying to, you're trying to prove you know a square has the same exact length and width or base and height. So if you want to find area in this one, you literally just do 7. Well, since this is 7, that side's 7. 7 times 7, which is 49. Some of you might even say, oh, I could just do 7 squared. Okay, so when you square something, it just means you're timesing it by itself. Same thing. Let's just say it's centimeters. Area is always your unit squared. So this would be centimeters squared. Centimeters squared. Now if I want the perimeter, P for perimeter, if I want the perimeter of this thing, it would be 7 4 times. So you can either add 7 itself 4 times, or you can take 7 times 4. That only works for a square where you can do 7 times 4, or that number times 4, because all the sides are the same. This would be 28 just centimeters. So perimeter is just the unit, area is the unit squared, okay? So that's square. Rectangle, same thing, super, super easy. I don't think I have to show too much of this one, but if you did the rectangle, you know, let's just say this is a 10 by 2, whatever, okay, excuse me, you would just take 10 times 2 to find the area, and that's 20, let's just say meters squared. So that means it takes 21 by 1 blocks to fill this guy in. So if I took these, this would, I mean, obviously that doesn't work, but 20 of these to fill it in. So back to the rectangle and the square, it was what, a 7 by 6? That means it would take 42 blocks to fill that rectangle in, and sorry if I keep saying square, okay? Perimeter of this, 10 plus 2 plus 10 plus 2, that's 24 meters, all right? Parallelogram, so a parallelogram is just a 4-sided figure. This is the one you're gonna see more of base times height. The parallelogram, specifically this type, like, looks like that's a terrible drawing, but it's like a slanted rectangle. Let me draw that again, because that's awful. Oh yes, I get to embarrass myself by showing my awesome drawings off. Okay, so let's just say the parallelogram, the base would be, let's just say 8. Okay, now they're not going to put the height here. Okay, that's a slant. That's not how tall something is. If I were to take, I don't know, I'm looking at like all my son's toys and stuff. Okay, if I were to take Winnie the Pooh, okay, and I were to tip him over like this, okay, Winnie the Pooh isn't this tall from here to here. He's slanted right now. He has to be straight up and down for me to say how tall is Winnie the Pooh. So with a parallelogram, you want to look for the line. It could be on the inside like this. Okay, let's just say it's 3. Or sometimes they'll put it on the outside. So same parallelogram, and what they'll do is this, and that's 3. Okay? But where does a parallelogram come from? It actually comes from a rectangle. If you take a rectangle and you slice it one way, so let's say this rectangle was 8 by 3. What you do is you can slice it diagonally like that. Okay? And if you take this piece and move it over here, so if you see, like, I'm going to take this piece out and move it over here. It's the same thing, okay? That's that triangle that got moved over here. So that's why sometimes they put the height on the inside or the outside. Either way, it's 24. 8 times 3 is 24. Let's just say inches squared, okay? So don't let the parallelogram scare you. It comes from a rectangle. These 4-sided figures here, boom, 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 length times width. Okay? Good? If not, rewind. Okay? Let's go to triangles. So, this is nice. Nobody interrupts me during this whole thing. I love this. I get no interruptions. Yes, I'm gonna enjoy this. All right, so let's talk about a triangle. Okay, a triangle. All right, any type of triangle, isosceles, equilateral, scalene, whatever. The formula. So where does a triangle come from? A triangle comes from a rectangle. Hey, so or a square, doesn't matter. Whatever you do, if you diagonally, so think about it. We talked about the formulas length times width or base times height. Okay, base times height. Okay, if you slice this diagonally down the middle, cut it in half, and erase that. Oh look, we have a triangle. Sweet. So the formula for a triangle is base times height. Excuse me. Base times height, b times h, little b times little h, and then that comes from your rectangle, and then you take half of that because you only have half a rectangle. Half. Now, my favorite thing to do, because I know that you all love fractions, but I hate fractions. So instead of me saying 1/2 base times height, well, we've said it a million times. What does it mean to take half of something? Divide by 2. So you can just write base times height divided by 2. Okay? So let's just say this triangle right here is a 6 by 5. Okay? You are literally going to take 6 times 5 and cut that in half. 6 times 5 is 30. Cut that in half, that's 15. Didn't I tell you fractions and division were the same thing? Again, let's just say it's centimeters squared. Boom, done. That's a triangle. So a triangle, this one is a right triangle, but I didn't specify that. Right angle. Remember, a triangle can also, that's a lovely triangle, be like that, where the base and the height could be on the inside. Boom. Okay. And don't ever think the base is the bottom part of a shape, especially with a triangle, because I could easily, boom, 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 have done this, 6 by 5. And let's just say for fun, I made this side 7. Okay? 7's not the base. The base is still 6. Now, how do you know? You want to look, and this is extremely important, you want to look for that right angle. Okay? That right angle connects the base and the height together. Okay? And you would see that on a parallelogram, you'd see that on a triangle, rectangle, square. Those connect the bases and the heights together. So that's a triangle, base times height, divided by 2. And if I want to find the perimeter of this thing, I would need one more side. Let's just say again, it's 7. So this would be 5 plus 6 plus 7, which this is one of you is messaging me on Schoology. So this would be 5 plus 6 plus 7, which is 18. This one, these two, you would actually not count the height on the inside. Don't ever count the insides to find the perimeter. You just want to do the outside. So let's say this is 6, this is 7, and this is 7. That would make that 20. Okay? Sounds good? Sweet. Trapezoid, last one. Trapezoid. All right, trapezoid. Trapezoid, probably the one that's the trickiest for most people. So the trapezoid, now trapezoid can look like the following. This, boom, 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 okay? And then, gosh, my drawings are awesome. I'm glad you're not here to criticize my drawing at the moment. Or a trapezoid can look like the following. And remember, these can be turned around. I am drawing them right side up for the most part. They can be turned upside down. So how do you know if something's a trapezoid? A trapezoid has 2 parallel sides. So it's a 4-sided figure with only 2 parallel sides. So if you think of it, a rectangle, a parallelogram, a square, they have 4 parallel sides. Okay, parallelogram, parallel. But trapezoids only have 2. So parallel, remember, it means that are going in the exact same direction. So it would be these 2 right there. Those little arrows mean that they are going parallel to each other. So a trapezoid's formula, okay? You need a couple pieces to that. So again, to find perimeter, I would just add up all the outsides, okay? No insides, just outsides. Now to find the area, okay? Again, I'll give you the complicated formula-ish with fractions, but I'll do the one I like the most. So it's 1/2 height times B1 plus B2. Okay, so half of your height times your base 1 plus your base 2. Now if you look at that, this follows PEMDAS a little bit. You want to add your 2 bases times by the height, take half of that. So again, that's a little scary for some of you. So I like to write it as take your height times that by the base 1 plus the base 2, then divide the whole thing by 2. Again, same thing. So let's say this guy here, let's just say he is a 6 by 4, and on the inside this is 5. Okay, his height will most likely be on the inside. Sometimes again they put it on the outside like that, but most of the time for these types you see them on the inside. So for this one, you would take your height of 5, and you're going to times that by 6 plus 4, and then you're going to divide that by 2. So always add your bases first. 6 plus 4 is 10. 5 times 10 is 50. Cut the whole thing in half. That is 25. And you can do it with this formula. Take half of the height. Half the height would be 2.5. And then times that by 4 plus 6, so 2.5 times 10, which is still 25. Let's just say inches squared. Okay. This guy too, this is why it's really important to know, and there it is, boom, sorry, I forgot the right angle on that guy. This is why it's very, very important to know who's the base and who's the height on this one, because a lot of people think, oh, the base is the one it's sitting on. No, the base is where you see the two, well, this one technically has two bases. It's where they're parallel to each other. So, for example, let's say this is a 10 by 3 by, I don't know, by 5, okay? 5's not the base. Just because it sits on it doesn't make it the base. So you want to look for where the two parallel sides are. It's 10 and 3, so add, and I think I got a decimal here, and that's okay. 10 plus 3. Times that by the height, divide that by 2. 10 plus 3 is 13. 13 times 5 is 65. Cut that in half. That is 32.5, let's just say, inches squared. Okay? It's okay to have decimals. All right? There's no problem with decimals. And I want you to make them into decimals. Don't leave them as fraction. So I wouldn't want to leave this as 65 over 2. This is a real life scenario. We normally use decimals for this when we're doing measurements and stuff. Okay? So, any questions? Leave comments if you have questions. Hopefully I didn't go too fast. This is our first video. Took about 21 minutes. So that's area and perimeter of all shapes. Oh, real quickly before I forget, remember if you need perimeter of this, you need these two slants here. So let's just say this is 3 by 3. This would be 6 plus 4 plus 3 plus 3. His perimeter would be 16. Let's say this is 7 over here, so his perimeter would be 25. Okay? I think I covered everything. Remember, fast forward if you have already heard all this stuff, but hopefully this works for you guys. Good luck. Please message me if you have any questions. I'll put your next assignment up. Yeah, tomorrow we'll do, I think we're going to do area and circumference of circles. All right, I think we'll get into that. So we'll kind of see how it goes. I'll let you know on Schoology what you need to do. Oh, and make me famous on YouTube. Okay, bye.